Action.
Say the action.
The action now.
Mm-hmm.
We back. We back, baby.
Yeah. So,
So, how did we start again?
Uno.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sam and IJ podcast, of which last year, September, you said that we're going to change the name to Truth in Love podcast.
Yes, Truth in Love
Are
podcast.
we still changing the name to Truth in Love
Yes, we
podcast?
should. We should. It's very nice.
Why? Why do you want to change the name to
Oh,
Truth,
let's put it in brackets.
Truth in Love podcast?
We'll figure it out. Yes.
Anyway, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
Our last episode that we uploaded was in December 2023,
You know.
and this is 2025.
Yeah.
So, what happened? Where have you been?
We've been busy.
Being around the world.
We've been busy. We've been here, but we've been busy.
Is it because we've been busy though?
Yes, now. It's not been very easy getting time. So.
Yeah, 2024 was a very full year. There was a lot that we had going.
A lot, yeah.
But it's good to be back, right? So, do we owe people an explanation? I think we've been busy is the best reason, because I have come across some people that were like, "Oh, what's going on? We're going to get more podcasts and everything." And not that we didn't want to start again. In fact, we thought we were going to start again in October.
Yeah.
We
did.
tried to start again in October last year.
But every weekend there's something.
There was something every weekend.
Well,
Yes.
Pastoring and working has not been easy for us.
Yes, so tell us about that. Last time, how much changed in 2024?
But on both sides, work just increased. On both work side and
Pastoring side.
pastoring side.
Yes, a lot was going on in church,
Church, that was
and
going
things
on in
like
work
that. Yeah.
and all that.
And family side, we've had 17 children since that.
17 children.
Yeah.
Biological or spiritual?
Please, we've not had any other biological children, but
Yeah.
a lot has been going
A
on.
lot has been happening, yeah. So that's why. And I love this thing because now for us, the way church is, you don't usually have a lot of opportunity to talk about, to have dedicated relationship and other life matters.
Like,
Yeah. So, and this is very important for us because
everything that
applying
we've been.
sanctification,
Yes.
yeah, applying.
It's important.
So yes, we need a lot of time, and this generation, I think we need it.
Oh, we do.
We do a lot of talking through application of things in personal life, relationship, work. We need a lot of that. So
Yeah.
that's why I really love this podcast. I really hope that we'll be able to do more of this going forward. And
God willing, let's see how it goes.
yeah, by God's grace.
Somehow we've always gravitated towards love, relationship.
Yeah, because it's people's biggest problem. But we should do more of other stuff too.
Yeah, because we were thinking applied sanctification.
Yeah.
There are a lot of other things that
Yeah.
it should touch.
Yeah, it should.
And going into this new season, so this is season 3, I think that would include some of the things we're going to talk about. So it's not just going to be relationship stuff.
Yeah.
But I think, just like you said, to a large extent, relationship stuff will
feature a lot.
most.
Yeah.
But then there'll still be stuff about work,
Yeah.
happiness.
Yeah.
That's one topic that I'm looking forward to. Happiness. What is happiness? Pursuit of happiness.
Yeah.
And things like that. Um. Yeah.
Okay. So
And I wonder how people have been doing. How was 2024?
for people like me,
Yeah. And how is 2025 so far? If there's a way I could get feedback, it'll be interesting to know
yeah.
what kind of year 2024 was for people and how this year has been so far. Are your relationships thriving? Are your friendships thriving? Has listening to podcasts like this even really helped? Because it's something I always think about. How you're not just another podcast, if people are actually really listening, or if it's just a dull sound in your background where you're just looking for something to listen to while you work. Is it really making a difference?
It should. It should. I think there's a space for more podcasts that are about applying proper biblical theology to life, not just people's personal opinions of how life should be, people talking about stuff and all that. I think podcasts that are about properly applying biblical theology to areas of life individually, and then hopefully even addressing questions and all that. I think is nice. I think we need more of that stuff.
How that you say, it just made me think of something. Do you think you've also grown deeper
Definitely,
within the
definitely.
last time and this
I
time?
think I
Are
have.
there things that have changed in your thoughts about stuff and opinions?
Not really. Nothing has changed, but I've gotten some things have gotten more nuanced.
Hmm.
Some things have gotten more dogmatic. Um, Basically, that's just it. Some things more nuanced, some things more dogmatic, but basically still the same ideas, the same beliefs, the same thing so far. And yeah, yeah, that's what happens when you grow older and you get more experienced
Yeah, see mature.
as you mature.
So let's start with a recap. Has anything changed in your thoughts and opinions about Christian relationships and marriage?
No, the only thing that I'm going to add more nuance to is the issue of physical attraction.
Okay.
I tended to, in the past, I tended to really emphasize the importance of values
Mm-hmm.
over personality and over physical attraction, and it's still the same. And all that. And I used to say then that it's still the same thing, but the way the nuance is coming in is that I used to say then that um, there's relationship 701, and there are people that you can go into relationship basically,
Without really
yeah, being
being
very stoic,
attracted to them.
yeah,
Yeah.
and all that and everything. But I found out that since I've been giving that advice, I don't see anybody who has actually been able to do it,
Hmm.
unlike the way it was in Christianity in the past and humanity generally in the past and everything. And I think now the way I would say it is that I would ask people to um, start a friendship, but most people start a friendship, but probably not seal it until an
The
attraction is there.
attraction develops.
Yeah, because that's thing that Tim Keller said about First Corinthians 7
Mm-hmm.
about burning and all that, the importance of attraction
Yeah.
really, really has been ringing in my head, and I'm saying maybe should I talk about it for people to understand?
Yeah. But maybe before you talk about it, quick recap. Because I
Okay.
remember the first time we ever
Yeah,
spoke
recap.
about
Recap. It was 2022.
love, faith, and hope. That was 2022.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
2022.
exactly.
Okay, so
About values,
yeah,
personality, and
yes,
then, yeah.
yeah, good one. So, mm, should we patent it or what now? We have a way of reasoning to. So everybody has different way of saying it because it's the same idea.
Yeah.
But both of us, Sam and I, we have a way of reasoning through relationship, a kind of way of articulating how we should make choices in relationships.
Yeah.
And our three level
It's,
schema
it's a
is
three food
our
code.
three level schema
Easily
is
broken.
our three level schema is values first,
Yeah.
personality second, then external things,
Material things,
situation
personal
issues
things.
like
Yeah.
things third. So for values, at the values level, we're talking about faith, hope, and love. That means the way a person sees the world,
Yeah.
the person sees like the person's core operating system, how the person thinks, what the person holds important, right? And personality is just it's not just, but personality is the way a person is would naturally tend to behave,
Yeah. Introverted,
whether they're
extroverted.
introverted or
You
extroverted,
like being quiet, you like being,
yeah,
yeah.
whether you're open, exactly. And there's different personality types of descriptions. Oceans is the popular one and all that. So whether a person is open, conscientious, extroverted or introverted, neurotic and all that, and everything. So that is personality. And then the last level is the person's material situation.
Yeah.
So how good looking are they? How materially comfortable are they?
Yeah. How wealthy. Yeah.
How their
How
background,
buoyant.
tribe, and all those material
So we
situations.
put things like tribe under the last level, where you're from. But
Yeah.
where you're from, could it also affect how you are
Yeah, but
personally and
yeah, yeah,
personality?
it can,
Yeah.
but it doesn't. It's not absolute. So that's why at the end of the day, it's still values that matters.
Okay.
Yeah. So
No, no, no. I'm saying in the three levels, where will you put tribe, where you're from? Because I remember us also talking about if it
I'll put
matters.
tribe on the third level on terms of mutable characteristics. That's the third level.
Okay.
Um, Material situation. I'll put it there because sorry, it's an immutable characteristic. Actually, it's
Yeah, I
an
think I'll
immutable.
put it on the second level.
It's an immutable. Yeah, I
I
get
think
what you're saying.
I'll put it on the second level because, to an extent, when you're thinking of how you are, for lack of a better word, wired, your tendencies, your predisposition, what you like, there's a lot of it that is shaped most
by
times by your
by
culture and your
culture, yeah, that you
tribe.
grew up in and all
You
that.
really can't do so much
Mm,
about it, especially
mm,
if you've been raised that
mm.
certain way.
True.
But
That's true.
yeah,
That's true. Makes sense. Makes sense. We'll think about it some more, but yeah. Um,
yeah,
so that's our formula for people, and we
for
usually ask people that, we usually advise people that when they're making a decision about relationship, a good way to go about it is to think about it like that. So you have core values. That means that the person's essential belief
mm-hmm,
system, how they look at the world, and we said, biblically speaking, if we can apply something that Paul talks about in First Corinthians 13, which is love, faith, and hope,
mm-hmm,
right? So you want someone who has the same kind of faith as you.
yeah,
That means that they believe in the same kind of, they have the same belief system in God,
yeah,
and which flows how they believe life should be, because their God will determine what their world will
their
look like.
worldview,
So
yeah,
their faith has to be the same with you. Their hope has to be the same with you. That means that when they
mm,
think about the
the
purpose
future,
of
what you're
life,
looking forward
the
to,
essence of
yeah,
life, the hope of life, it has to be the same. That's one other way you can use to know a person's core values. And then finally, love. The person's understanding of love has to be the same as yours. In Christianity, we believe that love is to will the good of a person.
mm.
So that means that the person's definition of what is good, if love is to will the good of a person, then the person's definition of what is good has to be the same definition as yours, right? Um, so if the person's understanding of love is that they want to do something or certain things for you and you don't think those things are good, then you're going to have a lot of problems.
So you kind
So
of have to agree on what the good is.
you have to agree on what the good
So
is.
that's
Yeah.
where that's what we are anchoring as love. Because I remember
Yes.
there was a time we took time to explain
Yeah.
what the good is and the fact that God is the good
Yes.
and not necessarily pleasure
Yes.
to
They are
your
just goods.
flesh. Yeah.
Yes. Basically, that's our first level. If you if you get faith, hope, and love right, if you're sure that you're aligned with the person on faith, hope, and love, you have the same faith, you have the same hope, you have the same love. You're going to build a very solid marriage on it. And then before you consider other things,
Mhm.
are there other things you want to talk about for faith, hope, and love?
Well, not really. Again, like as a recap, um, and because I like to always go practical, right? I just cast my mind. It's something that I almost instinctively always do when I see good marriages, when I see good Christian marriages. I'm like, what is that one formula? If you remember, that was the question we're trying to figure out
Mm-hmm,
what the
mm-hmm,
formula is, the almighty formula. What's that one formula? And it's something that I've always seen that has been consistent, right? You can't start by going for the fringe things, by going for the things that can change. You have to start by going for the things that actually really matter.
mm,
You can't build a life with someone who you don't have the same faith with, who you don't who you're not on the same page when it comes to what love is, and you're not working towards the same hope. Like it's those are the core things that matter in life. Every other thing is going to be secondary
mm,
to that. Is also the same reason why there are people you will see that both husband and wife are extroverts, introvert. It doesn't really, it just
You still
makes
have
the
horrible time of it, yeah.
some have horrible time, some have a very good time.
Mm,
For me, it's just like part of the flavor that makes marriage work. But if two of you are on the same page as to knowing that we are on a journey here on earth, we are heading towards heaven, my duty and my commitment to you is that I am going to will your good. I'm going to make sure that we both get to heaven together. Life will surely show you its different colors of shege. But every other thing that the gifts and material possessions that you can use that can make it either work well or not. And um another reason why we always advocate that you put things like material possessions or materialism at the very end is because those things change.
yeah.
Beauty is fleeting,
Yeah.
money is fleeting,
Yeah.
and it works both
Yeah. So that
ways.
you're right to put tribe on the second level. Yeah. Because the third things are things that can really
They
change.
really change. In
Yeah.
fact, most times they always change.
Yes. They're very.
Look at people who've been married or in a relationship for a very long time, and you're like, 10 years ago, where was this person?
Mm,
10 years ago, how did this person look?
mm,
10 years ago, like aside even how they look like 10 years ago. 10 years ago, if you go back in time 10 years and ask the person, where did you think you will be 10 years from now? Most times, what they will describe is something totally different
Mm-hmm.
because you, as much as you think you can predict the future, you really can't predict the future.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't use that as the sure thing to bank on when you're trying to make a
Mm-hmm.
decision as regards your future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because the way people look like, in fact, what fashion is today versus what we thought was beautiful
Yeah.
10 years ago has changed. We've seen people who were very rich 10 years and 10 years from now. And we've seen people who were poor and 10 years from now they are. So it doesn't make sense to use that.
Another thing is even hedonic adaptation.
Ooh,
Even if the things don't
hold
change,
up. What's hedonic adaptation?
you don't.
They don't love me like I love. What's hedonic adaptation?
Hedonic adaptation is the thing that tends to happen to human beings. That no matter what you experience, eventually you get used to it, and it makes no difference to you anymore.
Yep.
So, like when you buy a new car, it looks special to you, but after some time, it doesn't look special anymore, and all that. So, every pleasure, every nice thing that we're enjoying has a diminishing return on it.
After a while, it
Eventually,
loses its
it loses its
taste.
tastes. Eventually, it will lose its taste, and so because of that, all those external sweet things that we people tend to use to make decisions on, eventually you're going to get used to them and they will lose their tastes.
Yep.
So no matter how
Now
fine she is
imagine
now,
making a life decision based on
yeah,
something like
no
that.
matter how fine she is now, a day will come when that beauty will not be as special because you can see other beautiful women outside or other
Yep.
handsome men. Even same thing with money, you get used to the status. And that's why people that think that I just want to be rich, I'd rather cry in a Bentley and all those things. The truth is that the
Mm-hmm.
time will come when the Bentley is no more a Bentley to you, it's just another car.
Actually.
Honestly, when you suffer, if you are suffering in it, it's just be another car to you.
And most people are in one way or the other able to relate to this. I remember my first phone, and I remember this phone. Like years back, if they told me I could afford an iPhone, I'll be like, God, I beg,
Mm.
right? I remember how interesting the features of a smartphone were at that particular point in
Yeah,
time.
and now
And now
everybody's
we've taken it for granted. It's
yeah,
like, what's the next
yeah.
thing?
What's the next thing? Yeah.
I remember BlackBerry when we were BlackBerry that had that rolling button thing.
Mm,
I know we are betraying our age, but
mm, mm.
and the funny thing was that we felt like that was the best
Best
thing that
possible
could have
thing. Yeah,
happened to technology.
yeah.
But our kids are now growing up where they are born into a touch screen. Like I was working on my laptop and then um our last born came and she just instinctively started tapping the screen to
To
move
move it.
move it along, like because she took it for granted. So yes, imagine now taking a decision based on things that that will definitely
Yeah, if
change.
it doesn't change on the outside, it will change for you.
Yes.
That's a good way to put it. If it doesn't change out circumstantially, like if you were rich and
You get
you can
used
you
to
can
it, you
get
take
poor,
it for
eventually
granted.
you can even get
Yeah.
used to it and to change for you. So either way, those things will change.
Yeah.
One way or another, those things will change. So
Yep.
making a decision based on those things is it's kind of like an almost 100% foolproof way of planning your misery, of working towards your misery.
Building your hand on your house on sand, it
Yeah,
won't last.
this one lasts exactly. Yeah, literally building your house on a shaky foundation.
Yeah.
There's something I want to say though. When you follow the three levels, make decision based on um
First, based on
first based on common values, faith, hope, and love. Then consider the secondary things like personality and all that, and then before you make decision based on the external things.
mm-hmm.
What is I think it's important for us to state that what we're saying is not that if you make a decision based on the essential core values, that it settles all the problem.
Mm-mm.
Right? There will still be challenges, there'll
Yeah.
still be work to do. But if you follow that schema, it reduces the amount of work you have to do.
And it shows you what to prioritize, really.
Yes, it clears your priorities, but it also is necessary to understand it like that because the more you align from the base, it's the less the amount of work that you have to do.
It's easier to change things from this direction than
Yes,
to begin
exactly.
to.
Than to change it from this
You,
direction because
yeah, you can't marry someone who, for example, is not the same faith with you, and then after you get married, now start hoping or wishing to change. I'm not saying the person
yes,
can't change faith, but
yes,
it's easier for you to change your
yes,
orientation. Like I said, it's easier for
yes,
your it's easier for money to change how you
yes,
look. It's easier for you
yes.
to make money than it is for you to begin to
Right,
change what they think
right.
about God, who they think God is, the
Right.
truth, the very foundations in which they have built their life. So
Yes.
yeah.
Because if the external things, if you settle the external things like money and looks, you got that. but your personalities are different and your core values are different. You're going to do a lot of work to try to align on your personality difference because there's some work there.
Yeah.
If people have two different personalities,
Yep.
there's some work, but that work should not be a deal breaker,
Especially if you're aligned on value.
especially if you're aligned on values. But in case where your values are not aligned, your personalities are not aligned, but you have the same external changing things,
Hmm.
what will happen is that you're going to spend a lot of energy trying to fix your values when the person doesn't even have the same core philosophies as you.
Mhm.
The amount of work you're going to exert in your marriage will be a lot. And there's something to be said about the amount of energy being put into a marriage.
Ooh.
If you are putting too much energy into a relationship or too much energy into a marriage and all that, it gets to it gets to a point where it may not be worth it.
Hmm.
There are some types of work that you shouldn't be putting into marriage because you cannot carry that load,
It's a
and if you carry that
huge
load,
burden.
it will destroy the marriage and
Yeah.
relationship, and it doesn't even make sense. So if you follow that schema that we advise, right? If you take if you take care of faith, hope, and love, the amount of work you are going to try to do to make sure that your personality differences are not clashing too much, because there'll be differences, there'll be some work to do
Oh, there
there,
definitely will be.
but the work should not be a deal breaker. So you're an extrovert, I'm an introvert, you can find a way to meet in the middle,
Mhm.
especially because you have the same love, you have the same hope, you have the same faith. So it's much easier to deal with personality differences. You can make sacrifices for each other and all that. And then the external stuff like money and all that, if you have the same love, even when you don't have money, it doesn't feel like you don't have money. It
Yes.
doesn't, and all that. But if you can be really like blessed, for lack, they are blessed to say you have the same faith, hope, and love. Your personalities practically jive, and then you now have like an external situation that you prefer
Mm.
aligning also. The relationship, the marriage or relationship will
Sweet.
work
It
easily.
feels
The
sweeter.
work will
Yeah.
not be so much. So it's about the amount of work that you have to put into it.
And the other part I would even say to this was is the ability of that relationship to withstand the challenges of life.
Yes, exactly.
Maybe that's
Exactly.
one thing that I've
Exactly.
really learned in the last 1 year. Challenges will come.
Yeah,
There's
definitely.
no, you don't need to say it's not my portion, it's not your this thing. Hello, sorry. As long as you're on this earth, challenges will come,
Yeah.
right? The foundation you have is what will determine how
What's yeah,
well you'll make it,
yeah.
right? So let's even say things align along the three lines and it's all good. The fact that you guys have a strong foundation together, when the challenges do come,
It's really
it
so.
might feel terrible, but you'll be able to weather the storm.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It won't break you, because most times we know that when the devil sends challenges our way, he's trying to attack our relationship with God. He's trying to make that and break it, and things will keep
Yeah,
coming.
funny enough, Satan doesn't care about the external stuff. It's the core stuff he's going
As
for.
long as he can get
It's
to
that
it,
core stuff he
yeah, as long
usually
as he
goes
can
for.
get to it.
Yeah.
And so the challenges will come, right? And another reason why I talk about challenges is because given the last example you closed with, where let's say everything aligns, right? It's a good thing. Enjoy the relationship, but
Yeah.
make sure that at every level you are reinforcing
What is the
your
core?
union,
Yes, the core
right?
thing.
And the
Yeah.
reason why you have to keep reinforcing that is challenges will come. You need to make sure that you remain on the same page as regards all those things, so that wherever it is and you find yourself in, those challenges will make you stronger. It won't break you, right?
I'll
So,
talk to you something. Don't just occur to me.
mhm.
Should people me, I know my answer. I want to get your thoughts because you're softer than me.
Oh
Me,
yeah,
I'm always
now
very hard. I'm stoic.
soft game
Should
life.
people, as someone is listening to this, I can already predict what some
Okay.
people think. Should people wait to find all three align
Hmm.
before they choose someone? Someone that has the same core values, personality must be perfect, and then the material situation must also be what they prefer.
No,
Why? What would you say is the minimum they should go
I
for?
think that's another thing that has changed that I'm realizing.
Oh God, you're singing my song.
I think when you spoke about some of the nuances and things that have changed, I realized that that's one of the things that has changed. Even with my research, again, in my search for looking for the perfect answer and things like that. Some of the things we'll talk about in the next episodes around surrounding the history
Mm.
of how marriage has always been,
Mhm.
and courtship and all of that. My unearth some of these things, but I don't think people need to wait for all three to align as Christians.
I want to say something. in case for those the Christians amongst Christians who are listening,
Yeah.
this thing is assuming that the Lord is pleased with the relationship. We're assuming that you have committed it to the Lord and the Lord has not forbidden the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because there's also the thing of the Lord can speak to you and forbid a relationship, even if it feels like it aligns. But let's just speak from the human
Okay, so just
responsibility.
clear and remove
Yeah,
that
let's
one. I
leave that
don't
part.
think that
It's
we
not,
are
but we're
condoning
ignoring. We're
something
not saying
that.
it's totally about
Okay, I get
you.
you.
It's not totally
Yeah.
about your planning and your scheming
Yeah.
because the die is cast and then the outcome is of the Lord. So
Yes.
I mean, you can't build a city except the Lord is actually
Yes.
building
So
it. So we're talking about your
okay,
side
so
now.
we're assuming that all
All that
all on that
the
side
side
is
of the
cleared.
sovereignty of the Lord is
Very
taken
good
care of. Yeah,
clarification that
very
needs to be.
important. Yeah,
It's not, you cannot use my words to go have battle with the Lord. It's
exactly.
not
See,
me.
see, Lord, this one's aligned. Pick it or I'm done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so from our
Um.
responsibility side.
So yeah, what I wanted to say was, I believe that in our journey of sanctification, in our journey on this side of the divide, in our journey on this earth, God uses different things
Mm,
to make us, to mold us. And marriage is one of them, whether you like it or not.
true, true.
Um, you can't obsess about being, so there's something I to have said in the past where is, oh, if you're looking for the perfect person, you yourself, are you the perfect person?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm realizing that it's too much a burden. And I think it's part of the reason, it's part of things that really ache single people. It's not all the time that everything will be perfect and aligned. And you can't keep waiting for that. As long as you are aware of your brokenness, as long as you are aware of your shortcomings and you are working, you're not, what's the word, glorifying your sin, you're not celebrating it. As long as you're aware of your shortcomings and things like that, and you are working on it, I think you can enter a relationship with an equally broken person. And I want to be very careful so that people um don't carry the brokenness too much.
Okay, so what level are you? What layer is the minimum you are advocating?
First and foremost, that first layer,
Is that the minimum you're
that's the
advocating?
minimum. It's, you can't negotiate it. Like I've said, is, you can't enter a relationship with someone that is not the same faith with you,
Mm-hmm.
hoping that, no. I'm saying, in fact, that's why I said as Christians, because the assumption is that when it comes to how the Lord is dealing with us, we're on the same page.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
But then you can realize that, okay, sometimes in my personality, I might just like to keep to myself.
Mm.
I might not like to always talk and
Those personality
discuss.
differences can be an issue
Oh no,
sometimes.
I'm giving
Yeah,
actual examples
yeah.
of things that have put a strain on relationship. I like to keep to myself. I might not like to discuss what's really my problem.
Mm.
And you on the other end want to talk things through.
Yeah, yeah,
And do you
yeah.
understand? You are a talker, you want to get to, and in your mind, you are a thinker, you live in your head. You've thought about it in your head, you've settled it in your head,
Mm.
and here you are waiting for me to come and talk
Mm.
about it. So things like that, those things actually put strains on
Stresses work there.
on relationship. There's a lot of work to do there. So if I were to use that as the same example, if the two of us realize that, okay, we are both saved, we believe in God, we are working towards a journey and all of that, but then I'm also aware of my shortcomings, of the fact that me being a loner and me being living in my head can affect my relationship, and you wanting to live outside your head and talk can affect someone like me that is a loner. If two of us are away and two of us commit to getting better,
Good stuff.
I I don't think it should be
Deal breaker.
a deal breaker.
Good stuff.
And the point I'm
Good
trying to
stuff.
make is, no one is perfect. And I'm being very careful so that people don't use that no one is perfect to excuse all manner of bad behavior.
Mm.
And that's why I said the first one is settled. We are Christians.
Yeah.
We are aware of our shortcomings
Faith,
and
hope,
we are
and love.
working
Yeah.
with God
Yeah.
towards changing some of these things. We are prayerfully working towards that. I don't think it's wise for you to say, I will now enter a relationship when I have gotten to the point where I no longer live in my head
Love.
and I can, to be honest, there are some people who will have burdens like this all their life and they would have to deal with it. I, for
That's
example,
carry their cross.
you have to carry your cross. Me and anxiety, we're in a war. But I won't say because of that, I will never make any decision or I'll never enter a relationship or things like that. No, that's what you are working with the Lord with. Those are part of the wars that you are fighting. So as long as you're aware and you have committed to working towards it, both parties, I think, in fact, I think God can use the other person to help you, but so that I now spring it up on you after we've gotten married that sorry, by the way, I'm this way and things
Mm.
like that. So yeah. But what
Uh,
were your own thoughts?
yeah, I agree the same thing. I think the minimum requirements, the minimum is the same core values, faith, hope, and love. When you have the same of that, um, you should. It's. I think it's enough for you to make a choice based on if you see someone that you have faith, hope, and love for, because as we've given this schema to people now, someone might be thinking that, okay, you know what, I get it, and they have the map in their head. So they're looking
This
at faith,
check,
hope, and love,
this
personality now
check.
check, then external thing check. And so if the three don't align,
You're like,
I won't
nope,
I won't take the person
no.
and all that. So I see someone that has faith, hope, and love. Personality, we have some differences, there's work to be done.
Mhm.
And the material situation, okay, well, he's okay, but the three don't align yet. So
Mm.
I'm not going to make a choice based on that. Or I would not proceed, or I would not want the person. I won't commit the person to the Lord and ask the Lord if the Lord is okay with it. I think no. I think especially if you're of marriageable age, I think that foundation is what is necessary to um proceed and to
Mhm.
present a person to want to proceed in a relationship with a person.
Well, let me get a clarification from you. When you were saying, when we started and I was asking, has anything changed? You said something around attraction, right? So applying that to this same question.
So yes, so that's what I would say is the
Okay.
minimum. But more nuancedly, I would also tell them that so if you notice what I said now, I said the minimum to proceed, right? So begin to consider the person a viable option that you want to go ahead with and all that. So what I also advise people is that if there's faith, hope, and love, except you're like really mature and really stoic and you really understand that physical attraction can be cultivated over
Mm-hmm.
time, what I would advise people is wait to before you make a commitment, wait until there's a attraction between the person before you
Before you
make
make
that
a commitment.
commitment. Yeah.
Now that you talk about commitment, I think that's the
Not
one.
just not just about look. There's also personality as well. Attraction is a complicated
Oh yes,
phenomenon.
right.
It's not just
True.
about look. It's about
You
personality. It's about the way
yes,
she laughs,
you
the way
can
she
be
talks.
attracted to the person's
We're not just talking
look,
about
but
lost now. Yes.
yes, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
You
Not
might,
just
but there might be
lost.
things around
Yeah.
how the person behaves that
Yes.
I turn off.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
The one caveat I'll add though to this situation that we're talking about is the person's commitment. In fact, first the person's awareness and the person's commitment.
I think it's implied in faith, hope, and love.
Okay, how?
Um, if you have the same kind of faith, we have the same kind of faith, then it implies that you must be someone that knows that the person has certain values about marriage. And so they know that in marriage, it's about going to marriage with commitment,
Mm,
being committed to it. And so someone that has the same faith, hope, and love as you, as a Christian, will be someone that also understands the level of commitment. And so that means the person must be willing and ready to be committed. If the person is not committed, then you're not on the same page with respect to faith and hope.
true.
Yeah. So I think it's implied, but it's good to state it out anyway. So
Yeah,
I think it's implied.
commitment and the awareness I'm talking of is again in a situation where there are serious personality clashes, but you guys agree on the same thing. The awareness of what the issues are, and I'm talking of your own self
Yes, that's
awareness
self awareness. Yeah.
of what your issues are
Mm.
and your commitment to see it's a case of I know I'm not perfect. I know that um I I might sometimes fall short,
Mm.
but so that's an awareness one.
Yeah.
But my commitment is that not because no, it's not even because of you. And that's again, that's why faith, hope, and love is so important. It's not because
Yes.
of you, but because of God.
God. Yes.
I will continue to commit to being the person God wants me to be.
Yeah.
And that person God wants me to be is a better person who will make our marriage
Yeah. I'll be a better
better.
husband. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it.
So
I
that's
like
what I
it.
mean.
Yeah. I like it.
Whew, so that's a good recap. Um
So what else do you want to say in this first episode?
what what's the best way for people to maximize listening to our podcast?
Mm,
That's how I want to close.
okay, there's something we'll do this season.
Okay.
Um, we'll be more open to getting feedback and then maybe talking about stuff.
Mm,
So maybe after the first three episodes, send us an email with specific questions.
okay.
Try and be as detailed as possible without sharing any information that you don't want to make public,
Mm-hmm.
and ask us how you think we should deal with it. So the level of the advice that we can give publicly, because at the end of the day, this does not replace the fact that you need to have a local church, a good local church,
Yeah.
where proper theology is taught and that theology can properly apply it. It
Yeah.
doesn't replace it at all.
Yeah.
So that it can be shared in a public forum that can help you think through things and augment whatever is being said in your local church. and which your pastors, your elders tell you,
Yeah.
and which is best for you. So we'll take questions this time, and yeah, we'll take questions, try to answer them, and use try to answer them in a way that's deals with general issues that a lot of people could be going through
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
And another thing I'll add is again how to make the best use of it. Just like you said, this is not we are not your pastors unless we are your pastors,
Yeah.
right? Um, but this is the way to maximize this is to listen to it, to always think through it. Again, the culture of that day and time is you listen to some of these things like songs, but what we want to be able to do is get you to think through stuff,
Mm.
to meditate on things that you need to meditate, to ask yourself questions, to introspect, right?
And if
Um,
you're in a relationship, talk through it with your partner.
talk through it to your
Say
partner,
our
yeah, if
core
it's a
values really
relationship,
aligned and
yeah.
all that. Personality, what the difference is. Our material situation, are you happy with this? What would you want to change and all
Ask
that?
yourself questions. It's
Yeah.
not so that you just tick and say, "Oh, I've heard another set of new stuff that I can just easily," because I think it's an issue that we face is things I've done where you just listen to respond or
Passively, yeah.
listen to be able to have
Or
something
listen to
new
be entertained.
or listen to be entertained. I don't think that would be a good use of your time. That's even not very entertaining. If you want those kind of nice entertaining stuff, there are other podcasts to listen to. But yeah,
So end of episode 1, Abby.
end of
So
episode
going to
one.
the mates. We're going to tick stuff in episode 2 and 3.
Yeah,
So guys, this to say welcome back. Are we
we
welcoming our
back.
back? Are we welcoming ourselves back, or
Shall welcome.
you'll just
Cabo.
say we're here again?
Mm,
Season 3. We shall see you next episode. Bye.
bye.